Today we're diving into this really powerful idea that comes from Sean Taylor's Reading Sage podcast. What if the key to getting our kids ready for a future that's, well, completely dominated by AI isn't some new gadget, but an insight that's over 100 years old? We're going to see how what Dr. Maria Montessori saw in children could be the exact thing we need right now. It's a weird situation, isn't it? I mean, think about it. We have more research, more data, more experts than ever before in history, and yet, classrooms just seem to be getting more chaotic, not less. It's this paradox that so many teachers and parents are living with every single day. So what if the answer isn't a new app or some complex new system? What if it's a really basic insight that was discovered over 120 years ago by a doctor who wasn't even trying to build a curriculum? She was just watching kids. Okay, so this brings us right to the heart of the problem, what we're calling education's modern paradox. This just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one hand, we've got this whole arsenal of tools for control and measurement, data dashboards tracking everything, lessons scripted down to the minute, and these endless behavior charts. But on the other hand, what are the results? More chaos, less independence. And now, the real kicker, a huge risk that AI is just going to make this worse, accelerating this dependency instead of building real human agency in our kids. So let's pivot away from the problem and look at a potential solution, one that's rooted not in some fancy theory, but in the careful, rigorous observation of a scientist. And this is just so important to get. Montessori wasn't some influencer or philosopher sitting in an ivory tower. She was a physician, a scientist. Working in clinics, she noticed something incredible, that kids, even kids who had been seriously deprived of a stimulating environment, had this amazing built-in drive to learn. It wasn't misbehavior, it was a biological need to explore, a hunger to learn that, honestly, modern brain science is still trying to catch up to. And this quote, wow, it just nails her core discovery. This was a revolutionary idea back then. It completely reframed the child, not as some passive little bucket you pour information into, but as an active builder of their own mind, their own personality. The drive to learn is already in there. Our job is to get out of the way and help it happen, not force it. So, okay, if the child is the builder, what's their main tool? Montessori's answer was something she called the prepared environment. And you should think of this less like a classroom and more like a perfectly designed user experience for learning. It's a space that's been carefully designed, filled with meaningful materials and structured so a child can safely and effectively teach themselves. And that leads us to the adult's role in all of this. Your job isn't to stand up there and lecture. It's to be an observer. You prepare the space, you provide the right tools, and you model how to be a decent, respectful human. And then, and this is the hardest part for sure, you step back. You have to trust that the child will do the work because their brain is literally wired for it. This right here, this sets up the central conflict we see in education today. It's a fundamental choice between two completely opposite ways of thinking: control versus trust. You can see the two paths pretty clearly here. On the left, you've got the trust paradigm. You observe, you nurture that internal motivation, and you foster independence, all because you truly see the child as a self-constructing being. But on the right is the control paradigm. You prescribe, you use stickers and rewards, and you create dependence, because deep down, the belief is that the child is an empty vessel that you have to fill up. So where do we see this control paradigm in action? Let's get concrete. A perfect and often well-meaning example is a system you find in tons of schools called PBIS. It stands for Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports. Now look, the goal of PBIS is a good one: to create a positive language around behavior. But in the real world, here's what teachers are seeing all the time. A kid disrupts the class, refuses to do their work, they get sent out. But then they come back with a prize, a reward that's supposed to reset them. Meanwhile, the kids who are sitting there, working hard, showing self-control, they get basically nothing. So you have to ask the question, what lesson does this actually teach? Kids are smart. They're not missing this. They see that acting out gets attention and even rewards, while quiet, hard work gets ignored. The system, without meaning to, is killing the very intrinsic motivation it's supposed to be building. So Montessori's whole approach, it just flips this completely on its head. It's all about building the human first with the confidence that the academics will naturally follow.
Her classrooms start with something she called grace and courtesy. And listen, these aren't just fluffy extras about being polite. They are the fundamental exercises for learning how to manage your emotions and focus your mind. Kids are explicitly taught how to be a human in a community, how to greet someone, how to wait your turn, how to disagree without a meltdown, and how to take care of the space you all share. This is what builds the stable foundation needed for any deep learning to happen.
And that's the whole ballgame right there. So many of our modern systems are focused on repair, jumping in after a problem has already happened. Montessori's work is all about prevention. It's about designing an environment and a culture where those problems don't really have a chance to take root in the first place. And I mean, this quote from Desmond Tutu just says it all, doesn't it? By investing the time to build these foundational skills, independence, self-discipline, respect, early on, we create strong, capable kids who won't need constant fixing and intervention as they get older. Which brings us right back to today. Why does this century-old wisdom matter more than ever, especially as we're staring down the barrel of a future with incredibly powerful AI?
Well, here's the hard truth, the uncomfortable reality. Our problem isn't that we lack experts or systems. The problem is a fundamental lack of trust in a child's natural ability to learn and to grow. We've swapped out observation for prescription, and we've traded independence for dependence. We keep trying to solve these deeply human problems with more and more artificial systems, and it's just not working.
So what do? It's really about a return to first principles. Put the child back in the driver's seat of their own learning. Focus on designing environments, not just planning lessons. Teach behavior by modeling it, not by bribing kids with incentives. Value real independence way more than simple compliance. And maybe the most important one for all of us, teachers and parents, is to just observe more and jump in a whole lot less. At the end of the day, you gotta understand this isn't about running out and buying a Montessori program. It's so much deeper than that. It's about adopting a new lens. It's a way of seeing children not as problems that need to be fixed or buckets that need to be filled, but as these incredible humans, unfolding right in front of our eyes, if we can just give them the space to do it. And that leaves us with one final big question to chew on. As we're scrambling around looking for the next big thing to fix education, maybe the most important question we could possibly ask is this: what have we forgotten that was already working?